今天所有参加的这个家长朋友们，首先欢迎你们来到瑞思学今天的这个和 Havergal College 的大招官Miss Houston White，跟他一起来办这个讲座我们非常荣幸因为这是我们首次邀请到 Miss White 做客我们的瑞讲堂所以呢，应该会有很多很多非常新鲜的垂直的关于 Havergal 的信息带给大家。Miss White.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I appreciate all the families coming tonight. So tonight, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about Havergal College and really talk about why Havergal, why you should look at Havergal for your daughters, whether you're moving to Canada and coming as a day student, whether you currently live in Toronto, or perhaps you're overseas and looking at our boarding school. So when I think of Havergal, I think of three things: the program, the place, and the people. Havergal is well known for a rigorous liberal arts program that's supported by a contemporary well-being program. And what that means is Havergal has a breadth and depth of program, both in the classroom and out of the classroom, that offers a level of support that allows our students to be successful wherever they go when they leave for university. We do offer some AP courses, but we do not consider ourselves an AP school. We work collaboratively with many of the US universities, and particularly the Ivy League schools, and they agree with our approach that not focusing on a program in particular like the AP program, but really focusing on ensuring our students have a true understanding of the subject matter and a breadth of subject matter is really what allows them to be successful.
Okay, yeah. 首先呢，今天这个Miss White 要告诉大家，就是 Havergal 为什么会得到那么多的多伦多的这个最优秀的女孩子家庭的青睐。他能想到的最直接的三个词呢，就是课程，还有整个就是校园的这个校园的这个气氛整个校园的这个归属感，还有一个就是里面的人们，也就是包括师生。那么首先来讲，第一点就是它的课程它是一个非常具有活力和竞争力的这个文理通识的课程同时呢，里面包含了很多当代的身心健康的教育的这个内容。Havergal 是提供学生很多 AP 的课程，但是我们家长们一定要清楚 ，Havergal 并不是把自己作为一个专门的 AP 学校来自居包括很多收 Havergal 学生的这些藤校美国的藤校也好，加拿大的这个最好的这些大学的这个招生部门也好，他们都很认同 Havergal 的一个教学的理念，就是说你在一些课程的设置当中不能以为了申请大学这个缘由去做一个非常死板的非得要帮学生去做这个大学预科的这么一个课程，你应该做自己有特色的课程。这个有特色的课程里面含有一定的宽度，还有一定的深度，同时呢，让每个学生都能够发挥他们的特长，让他们做全面发展的、具有各自特色的学生，而不是把这个 AP 课程开设的越多越好。Thank you, Ms. White. Please.
Thank you. So for us, part of the student experience is not just what happens in the classroom, but it's what happens outside of the classroom. And there's student leadership opportunities at all grade levels. We think to prepare young women to make a difference, which has been our motto since 1894, girls really need to know how to lead. They need to understand their own leadership style and know that they have the potential and the capability to lead anytime, anywhere, with anyone. We have an extensive co-curricular program that includes clubs, athletic teams, over 75 different athletic teams. And we have an award-winning art, music, drama, and performing arts programs. We are one of the few schools that offers both an orchestra and a symphonic orchestra, a symphonic band. There's 4 different choirs, a jazz band that the girls can be a part of, a dance show. And of course, then we have programs, co-curricular programs that involve STEM, that involved science, medical research, mentorship programs as well. So there's many, many opportunities for girls to get engaged at Havergal.
那么 Havergal 另外一个特色呢，就是他们对于课外活动能力和学生各方面的领导能力的培养，是和他们课内课业是同等重视的啊。我从 Miss White 介绍当中，我可以感觉到，就是课外的这一部分的能力，可能更能够让 Havergal 的女孩子展示出自己真正的魅力和领导力。比方说，他们有75个运动队啊，他们学校的表演艺术社团涉及到视觉艺术。音乐，还有包括这个戏剧，同时他们是为数很少的学校有交响乐团的，而且就是有4个不同的这个合唱团，4种不同的合唱团，所以包括他们的 STEM 的课程，还有包括他们的这个很多科学类的课程，所以学校的整个课外活动涵盖非常的全面，这个是他们非常引以为豪的一个教学特色。Thank you, Ms. White.
Thank you. So for those of you who haven't visited Havergal, we're actually on a 22-acre campus right in the middle of the city. So right in Midtown Toronto. We're only 20 minutes from the airport. But you would never know in certain parts of our campus that we are in the heart of the city. There's a woodland trail that the girls use. There's 4 different sports fields that the girls can use, 3 outdoor classrooms. And this has been incredible space for us to use during this pandemic. Our students were able to be on campus every single day that the city was not in lockdown. We were one of the few schools that had all of our students, JK-12, on the campus every single day. And we're very fortunate. Our junior school has just opened a new wing that's 30,000 square feet. That includes a new STEM lab, a new dining hall, a new art lab, a new dance studio, and a full-size gym. Our new addition in the upper school is all dedicated to the arts and technology. And again, it's another 29,000 square feet that was added to the school. That also includes a new student commons. It's important for us that our students have spaces to gather and to work collaboratively together. It also houses HCX, which is our think tank, where we really work with our faculty and our staff to ensure that we are cutting edge when it comes to research, when it comes to understanding what is new and important in education, and making sure that we are globally connected on all levels.
所以呢，就是 Havergal 的地理位置大家都知道啊，是在多伦多的这个市中心啊，有22英亩啊。非常非常的大，同时呢，他们每年都有将近9000个校友定期的在跟学校的在校学生做沟通和分享。那么，像刚刚就是这个Havergal 的小学部新增了大约有3000平方米的一个新的就是教学设备，包括新的舞蹈教室、新的美术教室，还有一个全新的就是体育运动馆，包括高年级呢也新增了很多的这个科研和实验室的设备，因为 Havergal 的所有的老师们都认为学生们必须要能够跟全球最先进的教育理念和教育资源去接轨，所以给孩子们提供最好的这个教学的资源和教学的这个设备是他们要共同去努力的一件事情。 Thank you, Ms. White.
Thank you. And you might notice the daisies that are behind me. That's actually the Havergal daisy. And it's a tradition of ours that when a student graduates and becomes an old girl or an alumni, she receives a bouquet of daisies from the school. And we have over 9,000 alumni who are connected to our school. They play the role of mentors when it comes to girls looking at careers, understanding paths to university, having connections when they're finished their university, when it comes to joining companies, understanding business, understanding design, engineering, medicine, whatever field it is that they go into. Our old girls really do provide a place and space for connection and for our students and our former students to really work together to ensure that all of our students go on in fields that are important to them. And with that, 100% of our graduates do go on to their university of choice. It's about 20 to 25% of our graduates each year will go on to an American university. It tends to be an East Coast university, though some will go to Stanford or UCLA. It tends to be schools like Harvard, Brown, Yale, Princeton, Northwestern. In Ontario, it's generally going to be, or in Canada, McGill, U of T, Western, Queen's, McMaster. And then we have students who go on to UBC and of course several other universities. This year we have a student who's going to Oxford, we have a student going to Cambridge, we have students who are going to St. Andrews in Scotland. So our girls really do go on to universities around the globe.
我们可以看到 Miss White 这个Zoom 的背景是雏菊啊，我们大家都知道这个花是生命力非常旺盛的所以 Havergal 的这个是 Havergal 的校花啊。不是我们中文理解的校花啊，就他们学校的一个这个女孩子们每个毕业的时候衣服上都会有这样的一个就是雏菊的徽章。那么他们的女孩子们当然是100%都能够进入到自己最理想的大学，而且刚才有一点我希望各位家长都能够看到 Havergal 的一个最大的特色，就是刚才我给大家简翻的9000位校友每年定期和学校里面的女孩子沟通和分享，这个呢其实是学校花费大量的时间和精力，让他们呢就是在各行各业各个专业领域和在校的女生们去做对接，也就是比方说从 Havergal 毕业的在从事这个医疗行业的，或者从事工程行业或者商科的这些老校友们他们会跟自己就是母校的在校的女孩子们去做1对1的经验分享，来指导他们如何从现在开始去规划自己的未来。我觉得这一点真的是他们非常大的一个特色，也是非常棒的。那么刚才大家也听到了Havergal 就是被誉为我们多伦多的这个名校录取通知书收割机。那么在这个过程当中讲到今年有学生录取了牛津、剑桥，还有包括像那个 UCLA 哈佛，还有像那个布朗，所有的这些大学他们每年都有很多的女孩子拿到录取所以就是 Havergal 到底有多有名包括女孩子的家长们多么向往自己的孩子可以进这个学校，我们就看看他们每年的大学录取就知道了。就像我们瑞思学微信公文上讲的真的是收割机。Thank you, Miss White.
Thank you. So this slide here is just some stats, but really what I wanted to speak to you about is when you look at the breadth and depth of the Havergal program, it's only possible because of the people who are at Havergal. Our faculty and staff are what we see as our competitive advantage. They are experts in their fields. They are continuous learners. Everybody is part of a professional growth plan where you work on certain areas of research or certain areas of growth that are of interest to you, all coming back to supporting our students. And one of the questions I know that was submitted before this presentation was, do you have to be involved in athletics or do you have to be in a team sport? And it's one of the things that I love about Havergal. No, absolutely not. We're looking for girls with all sorts of different talents, and whether it's in a competitive sport individually, whether it's in music, or whether it's a student who's just learning about themselves and figuring out what their talent is. We have an incredible faculty and staff who are there to support each of our students to grow into the woman that they want to be so that they're prepared to make a difference in a way that's meaningful to them.
Yeah. 所以就是刚才讲到的第3点就是 Havergal 的人这个人呢包括老师包括学生。那 Miss White 在这里特别的强调人呢就是老师，首先是教工，他觉得 Havergal 的老师们真的是非常非常的优秀，他们在各方面都有自己的专长和专项，让女孩子们在各个领域都能够得到机会去发展自己的才能。尤其是我们之前有家长经常问，是不是我的孩子需要注重团队体育呢，还是个人体育呢？ Havergal 更倾向于哪一种体育项目呢？所以 Miss White 在这里就说没有这个倾向性，因为 Havergal 是欢迎各种各样的有自己独特才能的女孩子，不管你擅长的是个人项目还是团队项目，他们都会非常愿意来看到你是不是能够为他们的集体继续能够锦上添花。 Thank you, Miss White.
And one of the stats that's not up here, but is about our boarding school. And boarding is an important part of the Havergal community. It's part of our senior school. And we have 50 boarders in our school. It's deliberately set at 50. Girls are in a room, 2 to a room, or in single rooms. And boarders come, right now our 50 boarders actually come from 16 different countries. So it's a truly international boarding school. And it's students who come together because they really have an interest in education. They are driven, they are looking for an exceptional experience while they're at high school. And they've also got big dreams for what comes next. And our boarding students are really an incredible group. We just had our final boarder farewell dinner on Tuesday night. Quite emotional, as you can imagine, saying goodbye. We're very much looking forward to having all of our boarders back on campus next year.
Yeah. 那么 Havergal 也有住校的这个学生啊，他们一共有50个住校生。那么为什么把它设置在这个数字呢？因为要保证就是女孩子们是2人一间宿舍，并且到了高年级以后呢是1人一间宿舍。这50个女孩子来自16个不同的国家。那么像上周二刚刚就是所有的住校女生啊，就是一起共进毕业晚餐啊。非常的就是激动啊，也非常的难过，是属于情感很丰富的一个夜晚，感慨啊，因为就是大家在一起待了4年了，就是在这个住校的这个生活当中，感情是非常深厚的，所以 Havergal 对他们的这个住校的项目是非常非常的有信心，而且就是他们在里面有各种各样的领导力机会的活动为女孩子们准备。Yes, please.
Thank you. So to apply to Havergal, generally families apply 1 year in advance. So for September 2022, applications open in late August of 2021, so this August. Our main entry years are JK, grade 1, grade 5, grade 7, and grade 9. Boarding applications, we do take them for grade 9, 10, and a few spaces in grade 11. An application requires 2 years of report cards. They do need to be translated if they are not in English, just so we can understand all that your daughter's teachers have spoken about her, a copy of her birth certificate or passport. There's a parent questionnaire and a student questionnaire. Now, for the parent questionnaire, it just really helps us get to know your daughter and what you're looking at in the school. If English is not your first language, that's fine. If you have somebody who can help you translate and write that application, we are more than happy to have that. We're happy to have that during an interview as well. We recognize Havergal is very, very fortunate to be located in an international city, and we value that very much. Families come from all over the world speaking many different languages, and we want to ensure that all families have an opportunity to really understand Havergal and an opportunity to tell us what's great about their daughter. So please feel comfortable and confident bringing a translator if that's necessary.
OK， 所以接下来我们来了解一下，如果您要申请2022年9月 Havergal 的入学，那么您需要在这个接下来的这个8月就可以开始做准备。那么除了要交2年的成绩单之外，2年前的成绩单整2年的成绩单 ，sorry。那么你需要确保这个成绩单是英文的。如果您是直接从中国申请，那么要把它翻译成这个英文。同时呢，就是Miss White 再三强调就是 Havergal 非常骄傲于他们位于非常多元文化的一个城市，就是多伦多非常的国际化，所以有很多家庭都不讲英文。你们觉得需要就是要带一个翻译到这个面试的现场他们是非常欢迎的，就是你们带自己信任的翻译去帮助你们进行这个面试的翻译。OK， 好，我们有一个家长没有静音，麻烦您静音一下啊。Thank you, Miss White.
Thank you. So our process is designed to meet applicants where they're at, allowing them to shine. And what that means is we don't expect every student to come to us with perfect report cards, because what is a perfect report card? We don't expect them to come so that they are completely aware of what it is that they want to be or who that they want to be. That's part of our job as teachers and as a school, is to help girls discover that. And we're really focused on making sure that our admission process is personalized and is something that the students who are going through the process have a chance to enjoy. From JK right through to grade 8, our assessments are actually done in person through the interview process. So students work one-on-one with a member of our admission team so that not only can we figure out where they're at, but it gives the girls an opportunity to show their problem-solving skills, their critical thinking skills, and a chance to really explore with the interview areas that even if they don't know the answer, how are they working through a problem? How are they getting there? How are they showing their grit? And that's something that we're really proud of as a part of our process.
这里我跟大家讲一下，就是刚才 Miss White 讲到一个重点啊，就是 Havergal 的面试有什么不一样？大家可以听到，就是他从 JK 到8年级的学生，他们都是在面试过程当中，老师就是我们能找到那个没有 mute 的家长吗？能把它 mute 掉吗？OK， 所以就是说，他们在这个面试的过程当中就去测试孩子了。那么在测试孩子的过程当中呢，有的问题呢，孩子如果回答不出来，恰恰是招生官一个机会去观察孩子怎么去解决这个问题，怎么样在这个过程当中展示他们的批判性思维，还有创造性的去解决问题的能力。比方说怎么展示他们的毅力、不放弃的这些精神。所以这些呢，就使得他们面试的过程是非常个性化。所以就是各位在想准备今年申请 Havergal 的家庭，一定要注意在这个面试的准备过程当中，能够看到 Havergal 这个非常就是极具个性化的特色。Thank you, Ms. White.
Thank you. So our interviews begin just after Canadian Thanksgiving, so on October the 12th, and they run until February 1st. Our offers for boarders are actually done on a rolling basis, and we start giving offers for boarding students in early December. For our day students, we have a common offer date that we share with the Toronto Consortium of Schools, and that's on February 25th. So all students who are applying to the day school will find out if they're admitted on February 25th. And families have until March 6th, I think, or March 2nd to let us know if which school they're choosing. And really between October and February, our main focus is making sure that you have the information you need to make the right decision for your daughter. We want to make sure that she finds a school that's right for her, that's right for you as a family. And we want you to feel supported as you go through the admission process to make that decision.
Yeah. 所以大家可以看到几个很重要的日期，注意一下啊，就是 Havergal 的面试呢是加拿大的感恩节之后就开始的，也就是10月12号到2月1号。同时呢，就是他的住校的呢，最早的这个录取通知是12月初就发出了。那么所有的走读学生呢，是和多伦多的这个顶私协会一起，在2月25号可以收到录取的决定。从10月份到2月份，就是整个阶段，他们都希望每一个申请的家庭都能够得到招生部的最大的支持。Thank you, Ms. White.
So the process, we know this year was entirely virtual, and there's a very good chance that next year it will be virtual as well. We do have what we call our virtual admission center on our website, and that contains a tour. It contains recordings from our open houses from last year, from our events that involve parents, that involve students. And I really encourage everybody to have a look at those. We'll offer this similar events this year and as many opportunities as we can to allow you and your daughter to connect with the school. I think what we really want you to know as parents is to help your daughter to understand this is a process that focuses on her strengths. The admission committee wants to get to know her, and we want to focus on all the things that make her unique and all of her great talents. We're here to support her and you as you find the best school for her.
Yeah， 大家要注意一下 ，Havergal 的网站上呢，现在已经专门的开出了一个 Virtual Admission Center， 也就是说，你可以去点击那个 Center， 你点击了之后，里面有就是在线参观，还有包括所有的在线申请的流程。 甚至包括就是所有的就是在线招生的这个流程都在上面很清楚的显示，大家可以上去自己看一下。那么他特别希望所有的申请家庭都明白，这个过程当中你们展示自己的实力，展示自己的这个特色，展示自己的孩子独一无二的一面，就对于您孩子来说就是最适合的，因为只有通过这样的方式，他才能够帮助你们来判断 Havergal 是不是最适合你们女儿的学校，同时呢你们女儿也是不是已经完全准备好了进入 Havergal 这样的一个集体来成就她未来的求学之路。 Thank you, Ms. White.
Thank you. And thank you all for attending tonight. Coming to events like this is really important as you discover what makes Havergal such a special school. And I'd be more than happy to take questions at this point. Maggie, I'm sure you've got a process for how you'd like parents to do that. So I'm happy to do that. Would you like me to stop sharing my screen right now?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
Perfect.
Yeah. 所以接下来呢，我们就进入到这个问题环节，因为今天我们就是想给大家比较多的问答的环节欢迎大家在这个 Q&A 的这个地方能够提问，那么我会帮大家来做翻译，然后呢来回答大家各种问题请大家不要有犹豫，任何问题都可以在那个 Q&A 的区域进行提问，因为我们今天的这个讲座因为考虑到是这个晚上的这个8点半开始的，所以我们也不想占用招生官太多的休息时间，我们会准时在9点半结束。那么在这个过程当中呢大家尽可能的去畅所欲言的提问。 OK Yeah So 在这个 chat 里面大家可以看到我的同事 Lucy 已经把这个 Virtual Admission Center 的这个 link 这个链接发上来了，大家可以就是保存一下，然后呢来看一下这个就是里面的一些内容。 So Ms. White, I would like to invite you answer the first question about the grade 12 academic stress, especially in the pandemic time. How does Havergal support the students to deal with the high school academic stress?
Well, I think that's a great question. And I have a daughter in this year's grade 12 class, so I can speak to this quite comfortably. I think it's really important for these parents to know our students felt incredibly supported. They had voice in helping their teachers with planning assessments, making sure that they were able to complete all of the work that they needed to, with a focus on their understanding rather than on assessment of their understanding. They came together as a whole school. There's actually a time capsule that our students have put together to talk about the ways that they were able to connect and communicate with each other, and ways that they were able to have fun even during this pandemic.
Yeah. 所以就是说Havergal 在这个过程当中呢，经常会帮助就是所有的女孩子们呢，无论是跟其他学校的学生，还是说自己学校的内部会有一个个小集体，大家相互来讨论，自己来怎么处理压力，怎么处理各方面的这种就是学业的考验，他们互相分享这些技能和这些方面的就是经验，从而呢来共同互相的支持，来度过这个学业的压力。So the second question is about the proportion of grade 9 entry year, like new admits number. How many of them are from public school? How many of them are from private school? Will Havergal consider where the girls are from?
We actually are just keen to have the best students at our school. When it comes to grade 9, we normally get about 120 to 140 applications for our 18 spots. And there's a real mix of where the students are coming from. Lots are coming from public programs. And we think that's fantastic. So it really is a mixture. And to me, it's not about where you've been, but where you'd like to go.
Yeah. 所以就是说真的不是很要紧，就是您的孩子到底是公校的还是私校的就是说他们真的觉得就是最重要的是看学生。So the third question is about the report card grades. If a student has a couple of B's and C's, will it like diminish their chances of being admitted? Yeah, so what kind of report card does Havergal looking for?
Well, the number one thing we're going to look at are the learning skills. So are they putting in a great effort? Are they collaborating well with their peers? Kids aren't always going to have the top marks all the time, but do we see growth in that report card? Do we see that they are working towards bettering themselves in a certain area? So please don't fuss if your daughter has a couple of B's on her report card. That's just fine.
Yeah, 所以就是 report card 大家一定要注意，上面最重要的2项就是他努力的程度，还有包括他团队合作的能力啊。分数呢，并不是 Havergal 唯一看的重点，但是从 Miss White 刚才的回答当中可以看到，学习习惯真的非常的重要。So Miss White, we have quite a number of questions in the Q&A. So the first question is grade 2 the entry year for those kids who are not so good in English? Will they have any chance?
So grade 2 is only an entry year for us if a student leaves out of grade 1. We don't offer any English as a second language at Havergal, so it is important that your daughter has strong English skills. But we do know, particularly in the primary years, girls' English improves very, very quickly. But for us, grade 2 isn't an entry point, so it's only if a student leaves out of grade 1.
OK， 所以2年级不是他们的招生年，1年级是他们的招生年，他们的确没有 ESL， 所以呢，您的孩子必须要有很好的英语才会被考虑。Okay, so the second question, I'm pretty sure is from an international family. So they said, if a girl is in puberty and she's in an all-girl environment, will it be extremely difficult?
Not at all. So Havergal is, the girls talk about it all the time as a real sisterhood. And it's not as though there are no boys on the face of the earth. In fact, we're part of a group called COSIT, which is the Coalition of Single-Sex Schools in Toronto. So the girls have lots of opportunity to work with boys from the boys' schools. We collaborate on plays. We collaborate on guest speakers, both with UCC, Crescent, St. Andrews. So there is lots of interaction. What the girls talk about, though, is the fact that they appreciate how comfortable they are in class. They are so confident to answer questions, and that's what serves them so well when they move on from being at an all-girls school. All of the positive role models that they've had from the girls who've been there before them, it really makes an enormous difference in allowing them to see that they are capable of just about anything.
Yeah, 首先就是多伦多非常的得天独厚啊，市中心有男校、女校。其实从大环境来讲，就是他们是一个超级大的混校，就是这些男校和女校都很近。学习的时候呢，大家各自的在自己的环境中学习，但是很多课余的时间呢，大家会搞很多活动。所以跟 UCC 啊、Crescent、St. Andrew 这些男校 ，Havergal 的女孩子有很多机会跟他们课外、课内外的去沟通，所以真的不用担心青春期的女孩子会很寂寞啊，他们有很多机会跟男生互动，为他们的大学做好准备。OK， So here is a question in English. Does parent interview play a role in the admission process? I guess we've answered this question before, right?
It does actually play a role because we want to get to know your family. We want to know what it is that you're looking for in a school. Do your values match our values? So it's really important, that process. But again, if English is not your first language, please bring a translator. We're happy to do that so that we can work together to get to know what it is that you're looking for and make sure you understand all that Havergal has to offer.
Yeah, 是的，家长面试很重要。那么，如果您英语不好也没关系，可以带翻译啊。So the next question is about the U.S. University application. What kind of support does Havergal provide to those who are looking at U.S.?
So all of our students, you have a guidance counselor for grade 7 and 8, one for grade 9 and grade 10, and your final guidance counselor is your guidance counselor from grade 11 and 12. And they work with the students on their university application form almost explicitly. And so we have strong relationships with many of the US schools. We host the Ivy League schools at Havergal. We ensure that the girls are prepped for their interviews. MIT, for instance, often uses my admission office for their interviews. We'll help the girls to determine, do they need to write SATs, ACTs, what is it that's necessary, help them with their essays, etc. But really that process is very much like the admission process. We're really focused on making sure the girls find the right university for them. And so our guidance counselors are very well versed in many of the US universities.
大家可以看到 Havergal 的女生在求学阶段有3个大学申请的在校顾问，一个是7、8年级，一个是9、10，一个是10、11、12一个是11和12。那么他们在这个整个初高中阶段呢，就是一直有这些老师们在帮助他们做自己大学申请的这个规划。同时像刚才 Miss White 说的，像 MIT 麻省理工学院的招生官就会用他的办公室给女生们进行面试，包括面试的准备。学校的在校升学指导老师都会帮他们进行的。Okay, so next question is very interesting, Ms. White. So during the pandemic, we homeschooled our daughter for 1 year. And if we want to apply for grade 7, shall we provide the 2-year report card before homeschool? And how will we suggest this family?
Well, I think that's something that you and I should probably talk about offline. But yes, we want to see your report cards from when she was in school. And then whatever homeschool program that you ran, there will be some sort of evaluation if you ran it through the TDSB, if you ran it through the Ontario Ministry curriculum, or wherever you ran the homeschooling. So we would want to see that assessment as well.
那么这个肯定是要线下仔细讨论的。我建议您自己可以直接邮件 Havergal 的就是招生部啊。那么这 homeschool 前面2年的成绩单肯定是要看的。Okay, so next question, because there are so many girls, not so many, but a few girls only schools in Toronto. So what is Havergal's like most unique like character compared with other girls only school?
Well, I think as the largest of the girls' schools with not only in space and campus, but in the student body, I really think it's twofold. It's the availability of what we can offer because of the number of students that we have. But because we are such a large school, and the students talk about this all the time, it's the community that ties Havergal together. We know we're a big school, so we work incredibly hard to make sure that every student is known, is valued, and knows that they make a difference by being at Havergal each day. And it makes for a community and a culture that is supportive, that makes it a joy to be at school each day and a joy to work at the school each day. And I think when you meet our graduates, you see that quiet confidence in them that never tips over to arrogance. And that comes from being part of a community that allows them to try so many things and supports them in so many ways.
所以刚才那个问题就是觉得跟其他女校相比 Havergal 最大的特色是什么？ Miss White 说就是兼容性，他们是最大的女校，不光场地最大，学生也最多，而且呢，所有的学生们都知道他们的学校最大，人最多，所以呢，老师们都非常努力的工作，让所有的学生还有教工之间都有非常好的沟通，因为人多代表的机会多，但是对于大家的这个及时的沟通和团队合作来讲，也是非常的大的挑战，所以这一点是 Havergal 最大的特色啊。下一个 question. For JK application, there are no report card, and what are the criteria Havergal look for to admit such a little cute girls?
Yeah, it's a great question. And of course, it's very, very different at junior kindergarten than say looking at a student who's in grade 9. What we're really looking at is readiness. Where are they with their letter recognition, number recognition? Are they able to handle a full day program? And a big part of our junior kindergarten process is getting to know the families. this is a 14-year partnership that we're getting involved in when we select our families. So making sure there's a match in values, making sure that families understand the program that we're running. We're not the kind of school that's going to send home masses and masses of homework for the sake of homework. We're the kind of school that's thoughtful, that really engages girls in thinking, and really believes too that in the importance of time for creativity, time for rest, and time for play.
Yeah， 所以像这个问题就是问得很好啊，就是说，主要就是不会给学生很多很多的测试的项目啊，他们就非常的明白，这个年龄段的孩子主要看他们这个独立操作性，还有包括他们合作的这个能力，还有包括小朋友能不能够完整的，就是能够进行完一天的学业活动啊，他们在这个整个kindergarten 的这个教学过程当中，也不会给孩子很多很多的作业，他们认为这个年龄的孩子就应该像这个年龄的孩子一样，在游戏当中去学习啊。So the next question is about the ethnic group, like in Havergal classroom. Like, is there a certain proportion of, how many students from different cultural backgrounds?
We actually don't collect that information right now, but basically our school mirrors Toronto in sort of the diversity picture of it, and really mirrors the neighborhood from which we draw on.
这个问题就是 Miss White 回答的非常清楚啊，就是说他们是不看学生的这个种族的这个背景的，就是他们主要是看学生的个体的特色和个体的这个包括学业还有课外活动的这个特长，他们要的是一个丰富多彩的集体。Okay, so the next question is about campus bully. It's about how Havergal, manage some students who are, being really mean to other students.
Yeah, and it's a great question. And I'm always a bit shocked when I hear a school say they don't have any bullying at their school. Every school has bullying at it. Kids are kids, and it's part of, unfortunately, it's part of some of the growing pains for some students. But I'm really proud of the students at Havergal. They are very cognizant of the values that Havergal has: courage, compassion, inquiry, and integrity. And, looking at the question, it talks about sort of students being sly and under the radar about bullying. Our students are really quick at calling each other out. And for us, it's about taking the girl aside who has made a poor decision and talking to her about why. And is this really who she wants to be? Bullying is not tolerated at Havergal. All of our girls sign a code of conduct. But do girls make mistakes and make poor decisions? Of course they do. It's our job as adults to ensure that those decisions and those mistakes are not repeated, and that we are looking after the well-being of all of our students. And if a student is feeling like they are being picked on, or that someone is speaking to them in a way that doesn't feel comfortable for them, they do feel very comfortable going to one of the trusted adults in the building, and we very quickly have conversations with everybody involved.
关于这个校园欺凌的问题呢 ，Miss White 刚才说了，他有时候非常震惊，如果听到任何学校说他们学校没有霸凌，事实上校园霸凌在每一个学校都有，因为他们毕竟是孩子，是孩子就会做出错误的决定。那么在 Havergal 呢，每个孩子入学之前呢，都会签订一个 Code of Conduct， 就是一个协议，就保证我不会在学校实施这样的霸凌行为。但有时候他们会做出错误的决定，一旦他们做出这种错误的决定的时候，有类似事情发生的时候呢，学校的其他的学生啊，大家都会不约而同的站出来，就会指出来这样的行为是不对的。老师们也会做出迅速的反应，去找学生谈话，要发现事情的真正的原因在哪里，然后呢，尽快的去解决。因为在 Havergal 欺凌是零容忍，是不可容忍的啊。那么接下来一个问题就是how early can we apply for the junior kindergarten program?
Just 1 year in advance.
Yeah. 就是提前1年就可以了啊。So next question is, how many students at Havergal are Asian backgrounds? Like the proportion?
I have zero idea. I would guess 50%. But because we don't track that information, and And when you talk about Asian descent, I mean, we have students from Vietnam, from China, from Hong Kong, from Thailand, from Japan, from Korea. So from all over, we have students who are of Asian descent who are second and third generation Canadians. So it's really not a question I can answer particularly well.
所以刚才 Miss White 说了，他连就是亚裔孩子的数量比例，他都没有办法很精确的告诉你。所以这位家长问的中国孩子的比例更加没有办法告诉你，因为光是亚裔就来自越南啊、日本啊、韩国啊、中国大陆啊。所以我觉得我们想要申请 Havergal 的家长一定要注意啊，大家不要太在意这个种族的这个比例啊，因为有时候你自己越在意，你越容易就是让自己陷入到一个就是这个比例的误区当中。大家就是尽心的把自己的孩子培养好，培养出他自己的个性啊。这些学校他们招的是最好的学生啊。Okay, so what is the number of student enrollment for grade 7? Do the girls need to write SSAT?
So the girls actually have their assessment through the interview. We take in 50 new students into grade 7 and they join our 60 students from grade 6 who come across the bridge. So there's a total of 110 girls in grade 7.
所以呢，就是不需要 SSAT， 他们呢是有一个就是面试的时候的一个测试。那么这个测试呢，就是说今年他们有50个新生，加上60个从6年级升上来的，所以他们到了7年级呢有110个学生啊。How will the school help the grade 9 students get involved into the older students?
Well, I think it's really important that all the families realize orientation and connecting our new students and new families to the community is important regardless of the grade. So when it comes to grade 7 or grade 9 in particular, we use house as a way for students to get to know one another. The first day of school is just for new students, but students have an opportunity to have either a buddy or a big sister. We run a grade 9 first 6 weeks program where all of our new grade 9s check in with guidance counselors once a week for the first 6 weeks. They have a teacher advisor who checks in with them daily. And of course, all of their teachers are there looking after them. But it's really about ensuring that the girls know how to get involved, where to get involved, and know that they're welcome to get involved in all aspects of school life.
所以9年级的新生入校的话，学校会给他们有一个老师的结对子啊，包括校友的结对子。然后呢，这个包括升学指导老师，还有包括课程的指导老师、课程选课的指导老师，都会每天都会跟女孩子沟通的。所以您真的不用太担心，学校在这方面会把工作做得非常的细致。So for like non-English native speaker students, do they need to write TOEFL or any second language like acquisition test?
So we do like students to write either TOEFL or IELTS, and we're looking for scores similar to what U of T would look for in sort of in each of the areas. Again, because we don't offer English as a second language, it's really important that the girls have strong English skills. Now, strong does not mean perfect. And you know, we do recognize that girls come in at different levels, but a lot of our teaching and learning is done through conversation. So having a really strong grasp of English and being able to participate in conversations is really important.
是的，需要托福和雅思，而且对于这个第二外语的这个就是标准和要求呢，也是蛮高的，因为学校不提供任何第二外语的这个过渡教学的资源和支持啊。So are there going to be any admission for grade 8?
Not next year, unless we have some attrition out of our grade 7 class.
没有，就是除非7年级有学生走，8年级才会有位置出来，他们才会考虑，但是没有固定的这个招收。Okay, so this is a very long question. Ms. White, can you read the question?
I can, and I think you're absolutely right. Having a daughter who's been to different countries and different schools gives her an education that others won't have. So we're fine with that. In fact, it will lend to the conversation and the lens that she brings to Havergal. So it's really about making sure that she is comfortable, that we find the connections between curriculums. And that's something that we work at with families individually to make sure that what the curriculum we're offering matches what your daughter has been offered, and that she is applying for the right grade given that.
那么这个就是说这个家长问，就是我们的孩子在各个不同的国家都上过学，请问 Havergal 会不会介意他的成绩来自各个不同的国家教育体系？那 Miss White 说了不介意啊，就是说要看一下，就是面试时候要评估一下他之前的这个或者目前的学校的这个教育体系的内容是不是能够和他进了 Havergal 之间的进行一个衔接。Okay.And so what are some of the requirements that grade 7 applicants need?
So they will need 2 years of report cards. They'll have their interview and they'll have their assessment in their interview. They'll also need to complete the confidential school report. So have someone from their school complete that. Again, if it's not in English, then it needs someone at the school needs to be able to translate that for us.
这刚才我们在前面的这个就是 slide 里面已经回答了啊，就是说要面试时候有一个测试，然后要交2年的成绩单，然后要有老师的这个匿名推荐信。JK, so it's another question about JK. We've already answered this, so I'm going to dismiss this question. And the next question is also about SSAT. Yeah, we've already done that. About the tuition, Ms. White. Yeah.
So tuition this year is just over $35,000 for day students and $64,000 for boarders. And then we do have an $8,500 registration fee.
Yeah. 所以这个关于这个学费，大家可以去看一下这个学校的网站啊。当你被录取以后，你有8500的一个注册费，然后你其他部分的学费就是差不多在35000加币左右啊。Okay, so how many students will be admitted for grade 5 and 6, like the class size?
So for grade 5, we take in 20 new students and we go, so in kindergarten through grade 3, we generally have about 18 students in each of the classes. From grade 4 on all the way through to grade 12, we have 20 students in our classes. So we take in a new class of 20 at grade 5, and grade 6 is not an entry year. It's only if there's attrition. So we have 3 classes of 20 in grade 5 and grade 6. And then we move to about 6 classes in the middle school.
所以就是他们3年级 JK 到3年级都是18个学生一个班，那么4年级开始就是20个学生一个班，那么到5年级的时候呢，会有3个班，每个班是20个人啊。到了7年级的时候会翻倍，有6个班。So what is the like how many students normally apply for grade 9? I believe it's about the accepting ratio.
Yeah. So basically at all of our entry years, for every 1 spot, we get 3 to 4 applicants. Grade 9 tends to be a little higher. We can get up to 140 applicants applying for just the 18 spots. For grade 7 this past year, we had 178 kids applying for the 50 spots. So it really depends on the year. And then I see the question about how many legacies will be admitted each year. Really depends on how many apply. Obviously, we really value our Havergal families and our old girls, but it does have to be the right fit. And that's a conversation we have with everybody. Really, we're looking for a great mix of students, a great group of families to join the Havergal community who will really be engaged.
Yeah, 所以刚才我们提前回答下一个问题，就是说很多 Havergal 的这个校友家庭，尤其是对学校做过贡献的校友家庭，会在9年级录取。这并不是某一个年级去录取这些校友家庭，而是说要看的确 Havergal 会非常的感谢校友家庭来自校友家庭的申请，但是也要看这个孩子是否适合啊。那么另外呢，刚才这个问题回答就是说他们的录取比例，像去年7年级呢有140个申请，然后他们的录取位置呢就是sorry 不是7年级，应该是这个更低的年级有140个申请，18个录取。那么然后呢7年级呢是178份申请，只有50个录取，所以他们的录取比例是很低的。So about the interview for grade 7, what questions will be typically asked, or like the assessment will be assessed?
So the interview really is just a chance for us to get to know your daughter. So we'll talk about her favorite subjects. We'll talk about her family. We'll talk about school. We'll talk about her experiences. In the assessment, the first portion of the assessment is in math, and we share our screen and we work through some math problems with the student. And the second portion is a writing sample that the students do using a Google form or a Word document.
所以就是说测试的这一部分呢，就是数学还有这个写作，那么会有一个就是 Google Doc share 给大家，那么就是招生官可以看到孩子在上面写那么面试的问题呢，就是一个聊天，就是相互了解的一个过程所以问题呢的确没有什么具体的可以跟大家来讲，可能每一场面试的问题都不太一样。All right, 这个就是 okay, this question we've already answered, like how many girls will be in grade 7 class? I believe it's 20, right? Will the girls be in a different class every year, or they are in the same cohort?
Nope, they're in different classes each year.
Okay, 就是每年他们都会分到不同的班，会被打乱，老师也会不一样。So the last question is about the reference letter. Yeah, so who will be qualified to write the reference letter?
For the confidential school report, we really like it to be a teacher or a principal. If you would like someone to write a reference letter, it can be a coach, it can be a teacher, it can be someone who's a current Havergal family. Because not everybody submits a reference letter, it really doesn't, it's not necessary at all. But I think when it comes to the confidential school report, it's really important you find someone who knows your daughter well as a learner and as someone who is engaged with her classmates.
所以像这个问题的话呢，就是大家一定要注意，就是最好是最熟悉孩子的老师，孩子的班主任老师或者说是孩子的这个英语老师那么就是他们每天都跟你们孩子有打交道，非常了解你的孩子，所以他可以来写孩子这个推荐信。我们一般瑞思学都会建议家长使用当年的老师，如果当年的老师在申请的时候了解你孩子时间还比较短，那么我们会建议就是你们在去年的老师。所以我们瑞思学呢，就是在写推荐信的老师的人选上面会给到家长非常专业的建议Okay. Yay, we've done with all the questions.
Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ms. White. And my amazing colleagues have been answering parents' questions in the chat box because basically we have a lot of question answer already covered in your presentation. And before like the last, like before you leave, I noticed that some parents are still confused about the big entry year and the small entry year. Can you help to like repeat that part for all the participants?
So our major entry years are junior kindergarten, grade 1, grade 5, grade 7, and grade 9. And we'll only do interviews at non-entry years once we know we have a place available. Now, sometimes we know as early as October, for instance, that we'll have a place in grade 4 because a family has let us know that they're moving. So we'll begin interviews then. But because we don't want to put the girls through a process, if we don't have any space, we won't do interviews until we know we have a space.
Okay, so do you mean you still encourage the families to apply?
Absolutely. Yep,
Okay.
Absolutely.
OK， 所以就是大招年，大家记一下是 JK， 然后呢 Grade 1 1年级，然后是 Grade 5 5年级，然后是 Grade 7 7年级和 Grade 9 9年级，所以就是1 5 7 9加一个就是 JK。那么同时呢，就是其他的年份呢都是邀请制面试的，所以 即便您想要进的是非招生年，招生官也就是鼓励你们去申请，因为这样子的话呢，如果一旦前面这个年级有位置空出来，那么他们会打电话通知你来进行面试。今天非常感谢 Miss White 参加我们的这个问答会，我们回答了那么多的问题。So 在这个屏幕上呢，可以看到我们瑞思学几位导师的二维码，请大家如果还有什么具体的问题的话，就扫他们的码。因为今天是周五的晚上，我不想让这个招生官的休息时间占用太多，欢迎大家继续写一些问题给我们，我们可以代表就是您把这些问题呢递给招生官，如果您的英语不是很好的话。So Miss White, thank you so much. I just told the parents if they still have some questions that they feel worried to ask the admission directly, myself and my colleagues, we will be more than happy to help them to communicate. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for everyone for coming tonight. Very appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. White. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.